What is going on, everybody? Justin Thomas here. Welcome to the Top Shelf Fandom podcast. If you want to support creativity as well as get a exclusive Patreon-only podcast once a week, go to the link in the information below and sign up for the bare minimum of $3 a month, which hopefully will be barely noticeable to you and will be a huge difference for us. The podcast will start after this in case people don't get distracted. I feel like I did too much exposition. Podcast. Welcome to the Fandom Podcast. I will be doing 3 of these a week. 1 will be for Patreon only, and the other 2 will be for everybody. We're talking about pushing agendas and defying logic in your own fictional worlds. Just as Westworld has recently done and as Game of Thrones has done in the recent past, which they do themselves a disservice. Like, say they're trying to push in Game of Thrones the empowerment of women, which they should. That's a great message. But I feel they fall short where they have it so heavy-handedly and they refuse to have, we probably could have had a better situation beyond the wall if we would have had a situation where Danny went, per se, just as an example, instead of John and the rest of the Scooby-Doo pack that shouldn't be in the same room together. And then John could have went out with Rangers to save her, but they were like, no, because she wouldn't look at a strong woman. And, and you just get women that are just killing men, but then they implement Dorne into the situation. I won't go on too big of a rant. And that's a situation where their culture actually has dual leadership. Like, women are held just as high as men. So, that's kind of a hard situation with Dorne because you're dealing with story threads that Jaime can't advance yet because Cersei's still back here, and that's one of the issues with it. And they kind of had to do something that season. Dorne wasn't the best choice because it's you're either going to do Dorne or you're not. But the point is, they had a chance there to show some real empowerment, because this is a good example of Michael Bay wanting to tell what I would consider an everyman story. So Armageddon, we all know the story. Of course, a big ass meteor is coming towards the world because it's Michael Bay. So what has to happen, right? Salt of the earth, Bruce Willis, and Gain, the best guys ever, the best guys, because Michael Bay, he's a salt of the earth, work with my hands type of guy. So he wants to tell the story about the everyman, about how Bruce Willis and Gain, who are oil drillers, who, FYI, I don't think that's an easy job. Even as a kid, I remember watching this and I was like, that's a dangerous job. Not only do you have to be physically strong, but you have to be mentally strong, right? I don't look at people that drill for oil as dummies. Pretty job, but it's like, you definitely gonna die if you don't fucking know what you're doing. So anyways, they want to push the narrative that they're gonna save the world because every man saves the world, because we're all an every man. I did construction, so I can be like, that's me up there. I relate to you, Bruce Willis, and I can't relate to the NASA guys, because here's the thing about astronauts: a very low percentage of the population could be astronauts. So this is a young Ben Affleck bringing. This is one of my favorite little quips. And this is the director's cut, and he's telling the story about when he questions Michael Bay's logic of this. Because let's think about this: in Armageddon, it's even worse because they bring it up, and a lot of people do this in their writing. They bring up when something is conflicting, and I don't know if that's something to commend. It's commendable. It's well, he did address it. I think Preston Jacobs does a joke on that, with the lamp. He must address it, so it's cleared up. They can't teach the astronauts how to drill for oil. Again, I don't think it's easy. They had to send them up there, so they'll just learn how to be an astronaut, right? The whole crew, who have been portrayed as, yes, good hardworking men, but let's face it, this movie portrayed them as party animals, and a lot of them as crazy buffoons. You have to have a very stable mental state. You have to be mentally fit. You have to be physically fit. I don't know what the percentage is. I don't have these numbers in front of me. The point is, it's obviously not easier for the oil drillers to teach the NASA guys to learn how to be astronauts in whatever this week period is. Ben Affleck's about to bring it up to him. But Ben Affleck, brings that up, and Michael Bay doesn't want to hear it. He tells him to shut the fuck up. He doesn't want to hear it because that doesn't go with his logic. That doesn't go with his philosophy. He wants his everyman to do it. So he wrote a movie. Again, he created this whole movie, and he created this whole bullshit situation, and it's just ridiculous. He's fucking himself, and you're just doing a disservice. I mean, this is a fun movie, but it's just an example of just kind of hammering in, like, and we see that a lot now. And I'm a pretty liberal guy, so I don't get too upset, but I do see an issue with it, and people bitching about, you know, people's agendas and stuff like that. But it happens on the right and the left, and this is an example of it happening on the right, you know. So let's watch this. This is I commend Ben Affleck.
I asked Michael why it was easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts than it was to train astronauts to become oil drillers, and he told me to shut the fuck up. So that was the end of that talk. He was like, you know, Ben, just shut up, okay? You know, this is a real plan, all right? I was like, you mean it's a real plan at NASA to train oil drillers? He was like, just shut your mouth. See, here's where we demonstrate that, because Bruce is going to tell the guys that they did a bad job of building the drill tank. He did a piss. See, he's a salt-of-the-earth guy. And the NASA nerdonauts don't understand his salt-of-the-earth ways, his rough-and-tumble ways.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's because your cans are all...
Like, see, because remember, guys, intelligence and experience in this day and age, even though this is an older movie, but this is Trump-era stuff. This is prime Trump-era stuff here. Experience and intelligence is a bad thing. These NASA guys, who, again, let's think about this. Let's think about Michael Bay's skilled hand in creating action sequences and set pieces. But let's face it. I mean, the people that he's talking down, what are most astronauts? Most of them are like ex-jet pilots, and a lot of them were war heroes. So, I mean, that's like the other 80% of his movies, and then the rest are like fucking robots, the Transformers. So yeah, it's like it's just contradictory.
Like somehow
it's
they can build rocket ships, but they don't understand like what makes a good tranny.
We've had them training for 8 months solid now.
Look at this dumb guy.
Well, pretty much, yeah. Oh, gee whiz. Well,
Like 8 whole months, as if that's not enough time to learn how to drill a hole. But in a week, we're gonna learn how to be astronauts.
So I disagree with Ben on you know, I mean, it probably does take a long time, but again, yeah, I mean, the logic is sound that it definitely would be easier to, you know, teach people to drill than it would be to become an astronaut. The numbers are just there.
1 whole week? Now you know how to fly into space? I need my guys. Why do you need them? They're the best. Everyone's the best. Why are they the best? I don't know. They just are.
I'm only the best because I work with the best. If you don't trust the men you're working with, you're as good as dead. You want to send these boys into space? Fine. I'm sure they'll make good astronauts. But they don't know jack about drilling.
That's the crazy, like, he wrote that dialogue. That's the craziest thing I've heard. I love it too, because this is a young Ben Affleck. Like, I mean, you fuck with Michael Bay. I mean, that guy, you know, I mean, he shits money.